Buffalo, you can take in some scenic views while staying warm. A new exhibit at the Albright-Knox is bringing the great outdoors indoors here in the middle of winter.
Kathleen keeps asking me to go to a museum. I think she'd settle for an art gallery because you can share pieces from some of the greatest artists in the world if you check it out. We have News 4's Lauren Hall there live for us this morning. Great place to be on a cold day.
Good morning. Great time to come and visit the Albright-Knox. It's so cold and bitter, freezing temperatures outside, but in here it's actually been given a kind of a spring-like transformation. It's bright, it's airy, it's colorful, and that's all thanks to this new Impressionist exhibition. It's all inspired by Claude Monet. I'm standing here with the curator for the collection, Holly Hughes. Holly, we're standing in a room with 8 Claude Monets. How rare is that?
I think in Buffalo it's very rare. What's really great about this exhibition is even though these are the only Monets in the show, you can have a very intimate experience with Monet and spend a lot of time with them and not have to fight a lot of crowds.
Intimate experience for sure. I mean, we're standing inches away, and we wanted to stand next to this one to start off because he is really known for his water lilies and his spring and summer-like scenes, but this is a winter scene here.
It is a winter scene. This is actually the Monet that's in the Albright-Knox Art Gallery collection. It's a great scene from 1875 of a suburb in northern France on the River Seine, but what's really great about this image is while it's a winter scene, for those of you that are really cold today, this is actually giving you kind of the idea of spring because there's green in the trees, and you see the snow melting a bit. So I think for those that might be cold today, even though you come in here, you're reminded that winter does not last forever.
That's for sure. And I love what you've done with the walls here. You really transformed this section of the art gallery just for this exhibit.
We did. We wanted to give viewers a really kind of a new experience of the Bunshaft 1962 building, but also a great way to reintroduce the works that were out on loan with our major traveling exhibition for 2 years. So you'll see a lot of those in this show as well.
Talk about the Impressionist movement. What is Impressionist art?
Impressionism is really kind of something that broke away from realism. So the academic work that artists were working in studios, they went outside, they took their paint, they painted what's called plein air, out of doors, and they were really just looking to capture the effects of light, sunlight, transitional changes in the weather and seasons on their canvases.
Was that considered bold and risky at the time to paint outside?
It sure was. Yeah, it was considered very bold and risky, and I think that Monet, as the kind of the forerunner of Impressionism, he really took that to heart, and everything that you see here in this exhibition was painted out of doors, and sometimes in some rather, I think, brutal conditions.
Just like we're experiencing today, but if you come inside to the Albright-Knox, we promise nice, warm, bright, and airy. I haven't felt as warm all morning as I feel right now standing inside the Monet exhibit. We'll join you again just after 8 o'clock right here on the CW23 in a different portion. This is only a small section of the exhibit, so we'll show you some more works of art right here at the Albright-Knox then. For now, reporting live in Buffalo, Lauren Hall, News 4 Wake Up.
So beautiful in there. Nice to see that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lauren.
And a great
Happening in Buffalo, you can take in some scenic views while staying warm. A few moments ago, we had a technical difficulty, but now we're going to bring you News 4's Lauren Hall. She's going to show us a new exhibit at the Albright-Knox. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, Brittany. If you haven't visited the Albright-Knox since maybe last summer or early last fall, the next time you come here, it will look a lot different, especially if you enter into the 1962 building. That's where we are right now with the curator of this new exhibition, which is based on Claude Monet and Impressionism. We have Holly Hughes with us, and the main thing that looks different is the color of the walls.
Yes, for sure. It's a lot of purple, but we really wanted to transform the spaces that most people are familiar with as having white walls and being a bit more austere because we were showing contemporary work, and really give it the look and the feel, I think, that you're stepping back in time.
So how did you design the show now that we can see so much of it from our vantage point?
The idea behind the show, and working with my co-curator, our director, Yanni Saran, was really to bring people from academic realist painting through 50 years into abstraction. And it's done a couple ways. There's 5 sections in the show. We're standing in the precursors of Impressionism, which is realism, Impressionism, Room of the Monets, which we talked about earlier, the post-Impressionism, and then obviously the advent of abstraction. So it's 5 sections, and each section is a shade of purple, because if we had colored it a different color, I think that it would have felt very fragmented. We wanted to feel very cohesive. So the wall color changes in a very light way, the way that I think the light changes in Monet's paintings.
Talk to us about where these works of art came from. How many of them belong to the Albright-Knox and how many were on loan from other museums?
So predominantly the entire exhibition is really from our collection, except for 8 works. 7 Monets are on loan from various places, the Dallas Museum of Art, the Schelmer Museum in Vermont, the Art Institute of Chicago, as well as 1 Edward Manet painting, because we don't have a great Edward Manet painting in our collection. He's a big gap in our collection.
One of your favorite paintings is the one that you're standing right in front of right now. Tell us about this one.
This is one of 2 female artists in the show, even though this is a predominantly male-oriented time in art history. Women were painting. Rosa Bonheur is really interesting because she was trained by her father. She was one of the foremost animal painters of the time, and she really wanted to experience animal emotion to understand her subject. So she would actually go to the horse fairs in Paris or the slaughterhouses dressed as a man because she felt that she would be obviously less noticeable, but also she felt that female clothing at the time hindered her ability to move around and paint, and she would paint from her subject. So this is a great study for a much larger, her most famous painting, I think, in the Metropolitan Museum called The Horse Fair.
So this is part of the Claude Monet exhibit, the Impressionist exhibit that's up at the Albright-Knox right now. It runs through March 20th. There's also a family-friendly tour next Sunday. We have posted information about that under the Found It On 4 section of WIVP.com. We'll show you another section of the exhibit when we join you again in about half an hour right here on the CW23. For now, reporting live in Buffalo, Lauren Hall, News 4 Wake Up.